Thank you.
Okay, everybody, it's Monday night. Welcome to
But there is a
Rotary.
foundation one coming up that.
And tonight,
we
we
need
are
to all
going to have
attend
a
because-
foundation planning meeting.
Because I don't know, that's what they said.
And then I'm going to turn it over to our esteemed past district governor, Mr. Del Green, and his cohort of happy people. So go for it, Mr. Del Green.
Thank you, Benson. Thank you for leading us off, and thank you for being here all the way from, where in the mainland are you right now?
Seattle, Washington.
Seattle, Washington. So it's a little bit
Yeah.
later in the day for you, Benson. So
Not a
thank you
problem.
for doing yeoman duty. We always appreciate that. So thank you, everybody, for being here this evening. My name is Del Green, and this is the foundation planning meeting for this year. I am the current DRFCC. It's kind of a mouthful. I think it stands for District Rotary Foundation Committee Chair. So why don't I go ahead and start a screen share. Like, select the right screen. There we go. So, oops, is this working? Yes, it is. So for today's agenda, we will meet the team, this year's team. We want to talk about the scheduled events that we have coming up. And then we're going to just jump right into it. We've got some pretty interesting planning discussions around fundraising, including the annual fund and endowment, and Polio Now, which is a huge effort at this point in time. It's in the news, not only in Rotary, but internationally and locally. We're going to talk about grants. We're going to talk about Rotary alumni, and hear something about Rotary Peace Fellows. We'll finish off with club awards and then open it up to some Q&A. So at this point in time, what I'd like to do is meet the team. So I'm going to hopefully stop screen sharing, and I can figure out where my screen is and do just that. Oops. There we go. So this might be a little challenging because of the format we have, but recognizing protocols, we would like to recognize who's not on the, well, I guess he's an ex officio member of the DRFC, our current district governor, Randy Hart. If you would, there we go. Thank you, Randy. Before we get into the team, I'd like to also recognize our governor line. I believe we have with us Mark Merriam. Where's Mark? There's Mark waving. Thank you, Mark, for doing that. We have Ted Fagel, I believe, online with us. Is Ted here? There you go. Thank you, Ted, for doing that. We have our immediate, well, not so much immediate, but our not quite immediate, almost immediate past district governor, Sandy Matsui, if she waved to us. Thank you, Sandy, for doing that. Thank you for being here. And now I'd like to launch into the team. Now our team is going to include some past governors, but also some other very important people too, but we'll recognize them as we go through this. The first person I'd like to recognize is kind of my right-hand person, Mark Harbison, who is he's got several titles actually. He is the co-chair or vice chair. He's also considered the grants chair, and he's also our TRF trainer. Mark, where are you, Mark Harbison? Raising your hand, Mark? Okay. You can raise it at the camera too. So that's Mark Harbison. You're going to hear from Mark a little bit later as well. We also have with us in the area of annual giving, Dick May. Dick? And if you're waiting, I have to toggle through a couple screens, so hopefully I caught you waving. Next, I'd like to recognize Rick Golba, who's going to talk to us about endowment. There's Rick waving his hand slightly, but we're going to recognize him a little bit later as well. Additionally, we have our Polio Plus chair, Roz Cooper, past district governor. Roz, there we go, in Polio Now. Thank you very much, Roz. In the area of stewardship, we have past district governor, Laura Stillquist. There we go, Laura, thank you. And I'm kind of just jumping around a little bit to talk to us this evening about alumni, Rotary alumni, which would be kind of fun. We have Steve Dyer. Steve, are you raising your hand? There he is, Shaka. And to talk to us about Peace Fellows, we have Alan Kusunoki. Where's Alan? I'm not sure I saw him wave his hand. Oh, there he is. I'm sorry. There we go, Alan. Thank you so much for doing that. Some other people want to recognize. We have our White Hat Society chair, Paul Jersak. I know Paul's here. There he is. Thank you, Paul. Thank you for being here. Our Triple Crown and actually our statistician, to some extent, we have David Mazdren. Did I miss? There he is. There we go. He's raising the hand there. In the area of grants, we also have one of our grant co-chairs, Mariko Higashi. I know Mariko is here. Where is Mariko? Raising her. There we go. Thank you very much. I think I got everybody who is on the team, at least the ones that I caught. If I missed somebody, I really do apologize, and hopefully we'll come back and circle back around to you. But with that, I'm going to resume, I think, sharing. And talk about the calendar of events. First up, we have our Foundation 101 session and also grant qualification coming up on September 10th. So please jot these dates down. For Foundation 101, we encourage all Rotarians to attend. And for grant qualification, we need at least 2 people from each club to attend this particular session. And I'm sure we'll hear a little bit more about that when Mark Harbison speaks. We have our Polio Plus overview that's going to be coming up on September 24th. I'm sure we'll hear a little bit more about that from Roz Cooper. And then, of course, we have World Polio Day, and I'm very sure we're going to be hearing more about that from Roz Cooper. That is always on October 24th. Easy date to remember. Our Foundation 201 this year is going to be in November 5th, which of course November is Foundation Month, so it's very apropos. And then something that's going to be a little bit new this year is we're going to have Rotary alumni get-togethers. They're currently scheduled to occur on November 16. That's a Wednesday. So looking forward to hearing more about that very exciting opportunity. And then we have Foundation dinners planned or in the works for the spring of next year. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our annual fund chair, Dick May. And Dick, just let me know when you want to have me flip through the slides.
I sure will. Thanks very much. Well, many of you have met me, but I'm Dick May from the Rotary Club of Kapolei, and happy to be the annual fund chair, giving chair again this year. We mentioned the team. I will also be the major donor chair. Paul Jersak will be our White Hat chair. Paul Harris Society chair is open, so if someone's interested, let us know. And the inestimable Dave Mazdren. Mose is our statistician and our Triple Crown chair. So that's our team. Next slide, please. Okay, this is the foundation mission. If you think of it this way, that we have a mission and all of us as Rotarians, with all that we do are the engine that powers that mission. We need fuel for that engine, and the fuel is what we donate through the various means of giving. The foundation through annual giving, through endowments, through Polio Plus. Next slide, please. Okay, we're going to look at annual giving goals for a minute here. And Randy Hart, as our DG, has said that what he's looking for our clubs to do is some incremental increases in all of the things we do to excel. Not necessarily shoot for the moon in one area and fall flat in others, but look at your club, look at the various areas that you support Rotary and figure out where you can build incremental increases. Even if it's a modest increase, with all of us together, we do much. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to work on increasing annual giving for each club. We initiated the little contest for clubs this year. And interestingly enough, our annual giving was greater in this past Rotary year than the year prior. So maybe it had some positive benefits. We're going to try to build on that. We're going to try to increase our participation in the Every Rotarian Every Year and Paul Harris memberships and Paul Harris Society memberships. and I want to partner with Polio Plus. It's obvious that polio has now reached our shores again, as well as the UK. So it's not time to back off. We will work with various things. Roz will talk about Purple Pinky events to get membership for Polio Plus Society, and I think we need to partner with them on that. And we will again conduct our annual contest for club recognition. Next slide, please. In the 2021-22 contest, we did increase club giving. I said winning clubs will be announced soon, and Dave Mosdern, bless his heart, has just finished all the number crunching. I have just reviewed the numbers a few minutes before this meeting. So we will share those between Dell and my co-donor, Doug Adams, and myself. Don't see any changes to that. So very shortly, we will announce, not at this meeting, but in the next couple of days, the 15 winning clubs. They will receive a certificate, and each one will receive $100 for their foundation giving as a club. We're going to do the same thing again in this coming year. Top 15 clubs will each get $100 again. 5 criteria weighted equally. Next slide, please. There they are. Total per capita giving, increase in per capita giving, and you see an asterisk there. We don't want you to decide you're going to dramatically increase your per capita giving from $2 to $3. The gate will be half of what it takes to be an EREY club and a club of excellence. In other words, $50 per capita minimum. And then percentage for Paul Harris Society membership and percentage of Polio Plus Society membership and EREY membership percentage. We changed from increase to percentages for those because I don't want to penalize the clubs that got on board in the last couple of years and signed up a huge number of Paul Harris Society folks and Polio Plus Society folks so they can build on their success. Next slide, please. That may be it for me. Before we go to that, let me offer a couple of thoughts. I'm not the district conference co-chair this year, so I have time to devote to this. I want to spend time with each club, helping you where I can, in person where we can, or via Zoom. So please send questions to me if you've got anything that you're interested in. Your first source in each club is going to be your own club foundation chair. So it's important that they have the knowledge they need. There are a number of resources available, and one I'm going to push today is if you will go to My Rotary and then go to Rotary Direct and look at foundation. 2 courses I recommend are Rotary Foundation Giving and the Fundraising Basics. So Rotary Foundation Basics and Fundraising Basics is a start. Easy to take. You don't have to go through any gates to get there. Take it at your own pace, and you will be well prepared for those things. And again, looking forward to helping everybody. Mahalo for your support.
Thank you, Dick, and thank you for that information on annual giving, especially those resources that are available online for everyone. Thank you so much. We're going to move now to endowment gifts, and we have our new endowment and major gifts chair, Rick Golba.
Hi, everyone. Rick Golba. I'm with the Rotary Club of Poipu Beach. And as Del said, I'm dealing with the endowment and major gifts. You can go to the next slide, please. So I want to talk about the idea of legacy giving. And the first level for legacy giving is the benefactor level. And this is a commitment of $1,000 to the Rotary Foundation in your will. And this is something that anyone I talk to looks at this and says, $1,000. It's so easy to do. And Dick made the comment to the effect of a lot of us doing small things become something large. And you'll see that that's actually going to be one of my areas of focus, is to look at getting a bunch more benefactors on board. Because it's wonderful if we can get folks into the Bequest Society, and you'll see I'm going to talk about that in a moment here. But if we can get a lot of people as benefactors, hey, we can come out ahead on all of this. You can actually also get to benefactor by just making a single $1,000 donation to the Rotary Foundation while you're alive, which is another option. There is this Bequest Society then, and this is a minimum commitment of $10,000 in your will to the Rotary Foundation. There are a couple of different options that come up here as well. At the $25,000 level, you have the option of having a named fund. So not only is your money going to be used for something good at the Rotary Foundation, you really do get to do a directed distribution here to something larger than even the different areas of focus, and it will have your name on it. So it becomes a living legacy for you. There's additional levels of recognition at the $50,000 and the $100,000 level. Once you get to the $250,000 level, this is good. You get posthumous induction into the Arch Clump Society. So, you know, you're not going to be around, but you're going to be recognized at the Arch Clump induction at the annual convention. If you hit the $50,000 level, I'm sorry, the $500,000 level, you get all of the above, plus you get special seating at a Rotary International Convention. And as it comments there, you get that while you're alive, which is really important. And then there is one other level, and that is the Legacy Society. And that's where you commit $1 million or more. And I know these numbers may seem large, but if you think about your entire estate, and one area here in Hawaii that we have as a benefit, I guess, in this case, is looking at real estate. So if you own a home, the $1 million level is actually quite attainable for a lot of people here. So if you can go to the next slide, please, Del. So one of the things that I want to do is I want to work with members to discuss estate planning. And you can see there's a URL there, rotaryplanmygift.org. And this is going to give you a lot of different options for looking at how you can leave a legacy behind with Rotary. And there are tips by age. So they even start at 30 and below, which is pretty awesome. The amount that you're looking to provide, the asset types, lots of different options in there. Another thing that Rotary has done is they have partnered with an organization called Free Will. And the link is on that page as well. And this will get you started on estate planning. They say they will do your will in 20 minutes. I didn't go through and do it all, but the other thing that the attorney in Dell is sitting there saying, please say this, is we recommend that you do consult an attorney and go through all the different bits and pieces of content that you'd be creating here. The other thing that I will just point out is a will is just one part of your estate plan. So you should really look to build out an entire estate plan there. So the goals for 2022, 2023, one, as I mentioned earlier, is gaining new members into the benefactor level. And this is the $1,000 entry point. And I mean, I talked to someone in our club who has, I believe she has 4 kids. And I said, are your kids going to miss $250 a piece? And she said, oh, heck no, I can do that. So it's something that is very approachable for a lot of people. And there's also something called the Rotary Promise Club. And this is where 100% of the members have committed at least $1,000 to the Rotary Foundation. And again, that can either be through your will or just as a single direct donation. Now, there are some folks out there who would also like me to point out that if you donate $5,000 in a single direct donation, you also get to be a White Hat Society member. So that is another option. And that is it for me, Del. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Rick. We're going to move right along into End Polio now, and our past district governor, Roz Cooper. Roz.
Okay, thanks, Del. Next slide, please. I want to invite you to our training, especially as we prepare for the upcoming events in and out of our district. And as mentioned earlier, today is basically a planning session. Thank you for being here. However, on the 24th, we will have more detailed discussion on World Polio Day. So please, you and your club members, zoom in to the discussion. Next, please. Over 30 years ago, Rotary made a promise to the children of the world to eradicate the deadly virus, polio, that was crippling and killing so many. And with your contributions, we made great progress. However, it is not only your monetary support that's needed, but there is various areas of participation that we can do as we go around and actively involve ourselves in vaccinating the children. Walking through villages, administering the drugs, the drops to the kids is quite an experience. One of the biggest experience was putting the purple dye on the children's pinky. It turned out to be quite enjoyable as the kids totally enjoyed that and made giving the drops up, administering the drops a bit easy. However, they followed us where we went. So they showed up and they wanted more drops and they had the other pinky. So we had to make sure that we were just giving them the 2 drops for the 1 pinky. So that was a fun time, and it was quite challenging because more than giving them, we wanted to make sure we were not missing anyone. Next slide, please. Over 10 years ago, World Polio Day was developed to cause attention and encourage giving to the polio fund. Today, more than ever, we need to bring this awareness to a world that, as a result of polio cases identified last month in New York, and the discovery of polio virus in wastewaters in London, Malawi, and Mozambique, we must create a positive awareness. This year, we are working around a theme that has real meaning, and we're calling it the Purple Pinky for Polio Plus Challenge, the PP for PP. Each member of our district received a week ago through email a message asking each club to support this challenge. I was truly amazed at the response we received. Next slide, please. Let's invite our friends, our neighbors, co-workers, interactors, Rotaractors out to an event, a fun fundraiser for this PP for PP challenge. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can be a club meeting. It can be a beach social, a picnic, anything where we get people together and spread the word about polio. Each person making a contribution will have their pinky purpled, their pinky purpled. And the contributions we receive will go toward polio eradication. If you are a Polio Plus Society member, this is the opportunity to make your contribution for this Rotary year. If you are not a Polio Plus Society member, now would be a good time to join. Next, please. However, in our awareness adventure, let's not forget the fact that funds are matched 2-to-1 by the Gates Foundation. Your $100 becomes $300. Your $1 becomes $3. And any amount is appreciated because anything we give is going for a positive cause. Because our goal as keeping the promise to the children is to go from, next slide, please, from this next slide to this. Children having fun, children running, jumping, playing, laughing. And it will be possible. We can do this. Next slide. Check out the resources available to you that will assist you and your club in planning and getting the word out. I want to thank you for your continued support. I will, with your permission, set up a raise for Rotary for each club in our district to make it easy to make contributions to the Polio Plus Fund. So mahalo nui loa in being a part of keeping the promise to the children. And we can do this. Imagine, for one moment, imagine a polio-free world, because together we can. Thank you.
And thank you. Thank you very much, Massachusetts Governor Roz Cooper, as we imagine what's possible in the area of polio eradication. As we move now on to grants, and we have our grant chair, Mark Harbison. Mark?
Thank you, Del. Give me the next slide and we'll just get right into it. I'd like to start off by introducing the District 5000 Grants Subcommittee. I obviously am the chair of that. PDG District Governor Naomi Masuno is our grants advisor, and she's also working on partnerships with other districts and with our zone. Laura Silquist, past district governor, Laura Silquist is our grant stewardship chair. So she'll not only be helping with things like grants qualification, but she's also the person that's going to call you up and tell you that your final report is not in, or that you owe her a qualification document, or that you owe her a Global Grants final report, or that you owe her a response to a request from the audit committee. So Laura Silquist is a key member of this subcommittee. And she's also involved in training, as you well know. So Laura is a right-hand person all the way down the line. On the right-hand side, we have District Grants Chair Dave Hamill. You all have just finished your district grants for this year. We have more than 80 grants. We got the grants in early. The check is in, the checks are out to you. And so the money is being spent on these great projects that we will be doing throughout the Rotary year and celebrating throughout the Rotary year in our public image campaign. There are two chairs, Global Grant co-chairs, James Ham from Honolulu Sunset, and also past President Arjun Ayal from Honolulu Sunset. They have both done numerous global grants and are working very hard to cultivate new ones. Mariko Higashi and Arjuna Radnaeva are working on new initiatives. And when I talk about new initiatives, I'll get into a little more later, but there is a lot going on in the grants world. It's not just district grants and global grants anymore. We have an active process going on for district grants to aid Ukraine. We're talking to people at the zone level. We're talking to people in the Intercountry Committee, which is a Rotary project about multi-district grants for Ukraine. We're also talking about grants with UNICEF for Sri Lanka, because they are also undergoing an economic disaster, which is leading to famine, poverty, and hunger. So, and Del Green has been a major force in getting that disaster situation recognized. So that's our grant subcommittee chair. Let's go on to the next slide and look at important dates for grants coming up. And as I said, there is a lot going on in grants. So these dates that I'm pointing out right now are not the only ones, but they're the most important ones. And I'll try to keep you all informed if there's something going on. For example, on September 10th, our zone is sponsoring summits for water, for WASRAC, the Rotary Action Group for Water and Sanitation. And they're also sponsoring a summit on soils, which is in the area of the environmental sustainability with Rotary Action Group. So those are things that are not considered, quote, important dates in our district, but they are important dates as far as we're concerned going forward. So an important date to remember is September 10th, which is our grants qualification seminar. And I'll be talking about that in a moment, but this is a good chance for you to kill two birds with one stone, because it's also the date of our Foundation 101 webinar, which Del Green will be leading. And but I will, Laura Silquist and I will also be doing a grants qualification seminar following that. And that'll be an important date for you. Also planning going forward on September 24th, we'll do a joint webinar with the International Service Committee, and we'll be discussing the global grants that are coming up for this year and other opportunities for your clubs to get involved in global grants and international projects. We hope to have the club qualification completed by January 1. And at this point, I'd like to talk a little bit about the resources that are available to you. Everything you need for grants qualification is on the district website under the Foundation tab. And click on that tab and do a little exploring, because there are sub-tabs for district grants, for global grants, for peace initiatives, for environmental sustainability initiatives, Rotary Action Groups, all kinds of information that will help you lead your clubs in the grants area. And we sometimes forget this, but Rotary.org has a fantastic learning center where you can not only go in and do webinars on grants qualification, but on every aspect of international service, community service, and international service. So that learning center is a really amazing tool that you could recommend to your clubs for learning more and more about Rotary service. Okay, moving along. We've already had one project where we introduced some of the grants that are available to us this year. We'll be having another project fair on October 8th, and we'll have another one just before the November 1st deadline for global grant commitments. And what we want to do is we're throwing everything out there. Right now, we have about 10 global grant proposals. We obviously can't do them within our district. We don't have that kind of money. But if we partner with other districts, if you start bringing in your sister clubs, other districts, go on matchinggrants.org, we will be doing training on how you access ways to access other districts and other sources of GDF. So, but we'll also be narrowing down that list of grants to, 4 or 5 that we think are viable and that we can work on going forward. And all of you will have a chance to participate in those global grants with the DDF that is allocated at the beginning of the year. So again, November 1st is the deadline for global grants commitments. We haven't decided a date for the foundation dinner. It'll be sometime in the spring, but that'll be our chance to celebrate our success in raising money for the Rotary Foundation and for polio, for the endowment, and also the projects that we've accomplished, the 82 fantastic district grant projects that we have going out there, and all of the global grants that we'll be working on throughout the year. And then finally, getting into the spring again, we'll be doing training for the incoming president-elects. And of course, the grants qualifications seminar on September 10th is primarily for the president-elects, but where the rubber hits the road starts in April, where we'll be doing grants training on April 1st and April 8th. May 31st is the deadline for getting your district grant final reports in, and then we'll start all over again on June 15th with new district grant applications. Let's go on to the next slide. So September 10th is an important date, and it's coming up very quickly. The grants qualification seminar will be on the same day as Rotary Foundation 101. The president-elect should attend, and they should bring at least one additional club member with them. And that can be your international chair, your foundation chair, whoever you want to bring. But I really recommend that you invite everybody in your club. These are valuable webinars that can really get people fired up about what the Rotary Foundation can do and what your clubs can do with district grants and global grants. This is where the money is, and this is where you can really have an impact going forward during the Rotary year. Next slide, please. So here are some more dates that we've already kind of gone over, but just to repeat them. Today is the foundation planning webinar on September 10th. We'll be doing foundation basics and also grant qualification. We'll be doing a Polio Plus overview in preparation for World Polio Day on September 24th. And then we'll get into our World Polio Day celebration on all the islands on World Polio Day on October 24th. And then we'll have a training seminar, Foundation 201, on November 5th. And then in the spring, we'll do foundation dinners. And again, we'll be celebrating our accomplishments throughout the year. Next slide, please. I'd just like to say that, as I said before, there is a lot going on in the grants world, and the global grants are just one indication. Ravi Ravindran, who was the trustee chair until this year, celebrated last year by saying we funded over 2,000 global grants during 2020-21 around the world. We also did a major programs of scale grant that was a $6 million grant for the eradication of malaria. And thanks to the generosity of Rotarians throughout the world, and despite the beginning of the pandemic, we raised over $440 million for the Rotary Foundation. Also last year, we raised $15 million to assist Rotarians in Ukraine and in the Eastern European countries in assisting Ukrainian refugees. We have all kinds of initiatives for disaster relief. We're paying attention to the disaster in Sri Lanka, disaster in Myanmar. All over the world, there are issues where Rotarians can make a difference. Next slide, please. And finally, Dick May talked about the mission of the Rotary Foundation and Rotary. I'd like to talk about our strategic plan for a moment and the vision statement that came over that, which is very dear to my heart. And that is the following, that together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe in our communities and in ourselves. And of course, as a global grants chair and as a grants chair, those words across the globe and in our communities mean an awful lot to me, and I hope they mean an awful lot to you. So let's work hard during the Rotary year, and in the spring we'll celebrate. And looking forward to Randy's district conference on the Big Island, and that'll be the big celebration for all of us. Thank you very much for listening, and looking forward to talking to you more about the Rotary grants.
Thank you, Mark. I never cease to learn something new every time I have a chance to listen to you. So thank you for sharing. As we move now to Rotary alumni, we have our Rotary alumni chair, Steve Dyer. Steve?
Hi, guys. Thanks, Del. Hey, thanks, everybody, for sharing some of your evening. I'll be brief. So why alumni? Why are alumni important, and who are alumni? I think pretty much everybody knows who alumni are. It's bottom line, anyone who has received a grant from the Rotary Foundation. That's ambassadorial scholars, GSE folks, et cetera, et cetera. So why are we covering alumni? Well, hello, all of you clubs want new members. So what a great pool of potential new members in Rotary alumni. I think there's near 1,000 Rotary alumni in Hawaii. So you got to weed them out, but I'm going to help you do that as well. So bottom line, you want them to get to know your clubs or you guys so you can get them as members. Also, they can be inspirations to inspire more giving to the foundation and other good causes. Just kind of serendipitously here on the screen tonight, we have two alumni, RI, Rotary International Foundation alumni, Mariko Higashi and me. In fact, we are kind of Rotary Zaidan Shogakusei Kokan, which means she went from Japan to the US to study, and I went from the US to Japan to study. Her English is way past my Japanese, but at least I could say Rotary Foundation Ambassadorial Scholar Exchange in Japanese. So it can really help world peace. And in that sense, you know, November is Foundation Month. And I'm going to be sending all the AGs to disseminate to their presidents a speaker list of Rotary alumni here in Hawaii, but I'd ask everybody to add to that. If you know anybody, please refer them to me. Number two, we're going to have a pauhana. There's no better way, at least in my knowledge, to get to know somebody rather than over a beer. So on Oahu, we're doing it at Aloha Beer on Queen Street in Kaka'ako across Lex Brody's on 16 November. That's a Wednesday evening. And we're going to be doing this simultaneously with all the other islands. So I understand Rick Golba on Kauai is going to be coordinating one on the same night. Rick, you're going to tell everybody where to meet, I presume. And likewise, Alan Kusunoki on the Big Island, and Mariko Higashi, as well as or Wendy Hornak on Maui. That's what we have planned. Questions, anybody? If not, next.
And so then there we have our contact information for Steve Dyer. Thank you, Steve, for sharing with us a little bit about Rotary, the Rotary alumni, and looking forward to that Pauhana. As we now move on to Peace Fellows and Alan Kusunoki. Alan.
Thank you. I guess we can move on to the next slide. Okay, well, it's only one slide for my section. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Rotary Peace Fellowship. When I ask Rotarians at our conferences or conventions, it's amazing how few Rotarians really understand the Rotary Peace Fellowship. It's where your donations to the Rotary Foundation goes back into educating those individuals who have demonstrated their willingness to learn about how we can make this world a more peaceful place and learn about how we can resolve conflicts. As you all know, we live in a very unfortunate world where peace is not with us. There are disturbances in so many areas of the world. Here in the Rotary Peace Fellowship, everyone who contributes to the Rotary Foundation, remember that you help to provide full funding for these individuals who have demonstrated a willingness to take the time and set their whole career on peace. So we have two programs. There's a master's program, which like any other master's degree is 2 years. And then the professional certificate or graduate certificate that is about a 1-year program. Now, mind you, as I repeat, this is full funding. It includes everything, the tuition, the airfare, the housing for all of these students who will travel to universities all over the world. There are leading universities in Australia, England, Sweden, the US, Thailand, Uganda. They have sophisticated programs on teaching those who are interested about peace. One of the things that I look forward to as far as help from all of you who are participating in this seminar tonight, you can help by keeping your ears and eyes open to individuals that you may meet, people that perhaps you work with, who, for whatever reason, happen to mention that they might be interested in pursuing some further education in making this world a more peaceful place. If so, please let them know that Rotary provides this fully funded opportunity for them. And if you have questions that come about that you can't answer, of course, turn to me. I am right in the D5000 website. You can contact me through there, or you can go to individuals like Lynn Goya, current president of the Mililani Sunrise Club, who's been part of the subcommittee for this program. And of course, you have individuals in clubs who have been helping to recommend these individuals for this fellowship opportunity, because it's not just Rotarians like myself and Lynn who review the entire application, but there are those individuals in our clubs, individuals like Tim Hansen of Hilo Bay and Rich Seeger of Honolulu Sunset, who help to write recommendations that help these students become finalists when all is said and done. I'd like to ask each and every one of you, if you wish, I have a complete presentation that I can do for you. Certainly here on Oahu, because remember, I now live on Oahu. I can speak at your clubs here, or for those who are on the neighbor islands. If you have a hybrid program, I can certainly come online and speak to your club in that way. Just imagine if we had more individuals out there learning more about how everything that they can about peace and conflict resolution. Maybe someday we'll have more peace in this world. Thank you.
And thank you, Alan. I know that you're doing a wonderful job in the area of Peace Fellows. I think we have 2 fine candidates that are currently under consideration, thanks to your hard work and the work of the clubs that sponsor these fine candidates. Our last topic that we want to cover is club awards. Part of the planning process maybe is to look to the end of the year and what it is that District Governor Randy Hart is looking to encourage us to consider. We have the two basic types of awards. Ones that you actually have to do some work for. Well, you have to do work for all of them, but work in terms of filling out a form, a checklist. And then there are others where your work is going to speak for itself. For those awards that speak for themselves, these awards that require us to not have to fill out a form. These are awards for becoming a E-rate club, a 100% every return every year club, where everyone in the club has contributed something, $25 at least, and the per capita giving for the club is $100. Then we have 100% foundation giving club. So if you're an E-rate club, you're a foundation giving club. The major difference is that in addition to everybody giving something and it being a per capita average of at least $100, it's not just the annual fund that would qualify, but it could be Polio Plus, or it could be global grants, or maybe even the endowment. Additionally, we have 100% Paul Harris clubs, and we also have Rotaract clubs, where if you're affiliated with the Rotaract club and at least 5 of those Rotaract club members cumulatively contribute at least $50, there's an award for them. These are awards that will be tallied up based upon what's available through My Rotary. Now, there are some others that we actually have to do something. Now, it's not a whole lot of work, but it is a little bit of work, and we have to remember to do this by April 10th, and that is to complete the form that's on the screen now. I'm not going to go through the form. It's fairly self-explanatory. It's available online, but if you have questions, let us know. And with that, we would like to encourage you to consider our current Rotary International President, Jennifer Jones's theme, which is Imagine Rotary. She's challenged us to imagine Rotary, to dream and to make those dreams a reality. And it's through the Rotary Foundation that I would suggest that a lot of these dreams can indeed become realities in District 5000, because together we can. And with that, I'm going to stop my screen share and open it up. First of all, to thank all of our speakers. Thank you very much for all the presenters, and to thank you very much. Yes, applaud them, I do. And I'll open it up to questions. So go ahead and if you wouldn't mind, just raise your hand if anybody has a question. Now's a good time to do that. I see several people that have their videos on, so I can actually see if you're raising your hand. Dick May, you have a question? Go ahead.
Not a question, but 2 comments. You've heard several of us mention sources of information in My Rotary. So please take a look at it. It's easy to use. There's a lot there. Finally, that last slide that talked about a club of excellence, you'll notice how many of those dovetail pretty closely with what you need to do to excel in our little contest for the foundation giving. So pay attention to that sheet, write it down. And if you do well in all those areas, you'll do well in the contest. Mahalo.
I see Liz Kane.
Yeah, somebody in my club had the question the other day that I'm going to pose to you. And that was in the form. It gives you 100 points for each new White Hat Society member. And the question is, does that also mean a new level of white hat giving, or is it only for the person's first $5,000 in 1 year? Because I would take the position that it is any new level of White Hat Society member. Just saying.
That's a very good question, Liz. No, that's a very good question. And I'm going to actually punt to our district governor, Randy Hart, who apparently is also enjoying a libation. So I'm a little bit jealous, but I'm not going to feel so jealous. I'm not going to put him on the spot to respond to that. Although I would agree with you, Liz. Hopefully Randy does too, but we'll find out in a moment.
I agree wholeheartedly. Whether you're the first white hat or second, third, or yeah, each one should count.
Thank you. Just wanted to make sure that I was not
There you have it.
completely off base. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that question. Other questions? Now's a good time to ask them. This is a planning meeting, so what we're trying to do is to come up with some things to think about as we go through our planning for the year while it's still early. Did we answer everyone's questions?
Well, okay. I'm Malin Whittle from Rotary Club of Kona. I have a concern about some recent news publications from the came out of London. That's the headlines in the West Hawaii Today last week were that the drops from Polio Plus were causing polio. And that's a fact, yeah. But the fact is, it's just like I don't know, the article finally says something out of 2 to 5 million or something. But my concern is how can we combat that to keep parents from saying, oh, I can't give my kids drops because they're going to get polio. Are we combating that somehow? Or can we combat that somehow?
Thank you, Malin. And I'm going to ask Roz Cooper, past district governor Roz Cooper, to respond.
Yes, that information was put out in the publication. And there is a virus, a polio vaccine that has the live virus in it, but that's not a control situation. And if they're taking that vaccine, they are getting inoculated because it does fight off the virus, the wild polio virus. So yes, it is true, and it is working to our advantage.
Yeah, but it's millions, one case out of millions to protect millions out of one.
One case out of a million, if you're referring to the New York City case,
Well, it's an AP news article out of London, for crying out loud, that attacked the headline attacked the drops. And if you'd read the headline, don't read anymore, you're not going to give your kid drops. But how can we combat that?
yes, we can by making a better explanation and explaining the situation about the drops that's causing the virus. Yes, there's a way we can do it, in the way Rotary International is working on handling that. A lot of the newspaper articles they're making a statement, but they're not allowing explanation of what they're stating. And another thing too, Rotary has been working with them to come back and make a statement to address the issues, but somehow it's not being picked up right now.
Well, we're moving in the right direction. I hope, yes.
Yes, we are. We are moving in the right direction, and we have been moving in the right direction. It's just unfortunate that we had the case in New York and the virus being found in the waters, the wastewater and the sewer areas in those other areas.
Can I add something?
Liz, and then Mark Harbison, and then Dick.
They
I
don't
guess.
do the drops in the US. They do not use the live virus that can cause the circulating vaccine derived polio in the US. They only use the shots that give that does not contain that. We don't use the drops here. So that the whole question that says, why don't, how can people are scared about getting the drops. They're not getting the drops in the US. It's a completely different vaccine. I wanted to add that.
And you're correct in that too, but the article was addressing those places in other countries.
I know,
And
but
it is a positive thing that when people read the articles as they're printed, they would not vaccinate their children. They say, why should I vaccinate my children if the
Yeah.
drops are going to cause the polio virus? So
Yeah.
yes, but we need education is the bottom line answer. And that's what we're trying to do. And that's why we're going to do what we're doing to go get out and talk about this virus, talk about the vaccine, and make people understand that polio is a plane ride away. And with everything that's going on in the world today, anything can happen. We have people coming in from other countries. Are they vaccinated? No. What can we do, or how can we handle that to make sure that these people are vaccinated against polio? Education, awareness, this is what we must do. And that's why we're going to push really, really hard in October and leading up to our October and even after that to make sure that our island people for sure can set an example that we support this and we are creating that awareness and taking action.
Thank you, Roz. Mark, and then Dick. Mark, did you have? Oh, he's not. Okay, Dick May, did you have? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Roz,
Mark.
Roz said it is.
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Dick.
Mark.
No, Liz covered it for me.
Okay, so Dick, go ahead.
Well, Liz said it very eloquently. The fact is that we had a case in New York. It happened to have been in a community that's highly under-vaccinated for a variety of things, polio included. We've seen the same thing with COVID. So there are a certain number of people who resist vaccinations. All we can do is keep the science on our side, keep our chin up, continue to vaccinate people, and beat this disease down as we need to do that. And that's where we are.
And this person in New York is 20 years old, and 20 years ago, his parents did not vaccinate him.
That's
And
correct.
that's the information that we're looking at.
Yeah.
And he's not the only one.
Education's key.
Hey, Del,
Do we have
Del,
any
you
other
got a-
questions?
Yeah, you got a question from Nestorio.
Yeah,
Yeah, Nestorio, go ahead.
yes. Yeah, I have a question. I just celebrated a birthday party. I mean, on my birthday, and I held a party, and I invited guests. And in lieu of gifts to me, I asked donation to the Rotary Foundation. And yeah, thank you. And I had a total donation of $600 made to TRF, but there was a $20.71 fee, so $579.29. So my question is that going to be credited towards me or credited to the generous donors? They have names there, but some are not Rotary members.
I
Can I
think it
answer
depends
that?
on how you, yeah, go ahead, Roz.
I think what you would do, if some of them are Rotarians, then possibly you could make the contribution in their names. If they're not Rotarians, you can make it in your club's name. So the club have those resources and they can use the credits that they get from matching points, from matching incentives for people to make contributions to the foundation.
I use Evite, and so donations to TRF at an address in Illinois, the headquarters there. So I assume that the money went straight there.
It should. How was the money? How was the money transmitted, Nestorio?
What's that?
Online, by check? How did you transfer your
Yes, yes,
money?
online.
Then
So
is
it
there,
went straight to the headquarters
The Rotary Foundation.
in Illinois. Yeah.
And there's a couple of things you can do also. When you make that contribution, you can check annual fund share. So that money comes back to the district, or it can go to Polio Plus. And Polio Plus, since it's going to Polio Plus, it doesn't qualify for share coming back to the district. However, it's going to the Rotary Foundation. Whatever you do or whatever people give is going to help.
we're
I'm
kind of at
thinking
the
about,
appointed time, so, I'm sorry, go ahead, finish up, Ms. Torres, then.
I'm thinking about checking, the Rotary Foundation in Chicago, and to see if it made it there. I received a confirmation from Evite stating the total donations, but I'm not sure if we went there or not.
Did you use the form that they have, the contribution form, and you fill that out and you sent that to Rotary Foundation?
No, it went straight there. It went directly to the Rotary Foundation at an address in Illinois.
Did you make it online or did you fill out the
Yeah,
the
it was
donor form?
online. Evite.
Okay. So they have your member number if you did it online.
No, I was not asked. It was just a name, the names of the donors, and then on my behalf, I guess.
So it sounds like you did a really nice thing. You made a contribution online. It wasn't marked share, but it did end up with Rotary, which is
Gonna
the
help.
good thing. It's the unfortunate thing that it wasn't marked share, so that it would be credited to you and or your club.
Or
But thank
Polio
you for
Plus.
doing that, because that was very nice. And it does make a difference. And so I applaud you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Malin Whittle, Rotary Club of Kona again. As a foundation donor, if I give $100 to the to the foundation, I get 100 points. I can do whatever I want to with that. Now, whatever. How does the club acquire points?
Dave Matron?
Yeah, every single time your club pays for, let's say it's Global Grant or makes a donation on behalf of the club, then those points are then attributed to the club's points. And those points can be used for any member in the club, and the board can just choose how to use that. The points that you accumulate can be used for anybody else, but they cannot be used for yourself.
Any final questions or question? Well, not seeing any, I'm going to turn it back over to Benson.
Thanks, Dell. That was great. So, Randy Hart, why don't you give us your last thoughts for the evening, and we'll close it down.
Well, I'd like my remarks to be pretty short, but I just wanted to thank Dell and his team for putting on what I thought was an excellent presentation. I think a lot of it, may tickle the thought of digging a little bit deeper and going into some of the things that Mark Harbison and others had talked about. But you did a great job opening that door. So just wanted to thank you and the team for doing a great job, and thanking the 50 some participants tonight. Actually, that was awesome turnout for this. So you can tell how important foundation is to this district when you get 55 members that show up on a Monday night from 7 to 8 o'clock. Now, Monday Night Football starts in a couple of weeks, so I wouldn't try that again.
Uh,
But great job, Dell. Thank
Yeah.
you and all of your team for a great job. So
Okay, thanks, Randy. So the final thought for tonight is that those of you who've been in Rotary for a while, you know that foundation and everything that comes with foundation is far and away the most complicated piece to understand about Rotary. And so I think Dell's team approach this year is really great in breaking it down. So there's a lot of people involved and everybody takes a small piece of it. I got to tell you, I've listened to this thing like in the last year, like dozens of times, and tonight, because of the way you set it up with everybody just taking a little slice of it, it finally came together for me. So I want to appreciate that, Dell, and your whole team for putting it out there in a way that everybody can grasp it and understand it, and then best of all, put that into motion. So thanks a lot, everybody. This session was recorded or is being recorded, and we'll have it on the district website here in a day or so. So appreciate everybody coming tonight. Have a good Monday. Thanks a lot. Take care. Okay. Nice job, Dell. Without a suit and everything, man, you killed it. So that's great.
Yeah, I thought I'd mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, it
We'll
was
see
a
what
good-
I wear the